But we start with Liverpool, and they're the first of the English teams to make sure of their place in the quarter-finals. They were beaten 1-0 at Anfield last night, but a 2-0 first-leg victory means they progressed to the quarter-finals 2-1 on aggregate.
First 20 minutes, I didn't like too much our counter press, and it's something that has nothing to do with the opponent. That's only about us. And the goal we conceded, we shouldn't have conceded. Even when the finish was really brilliant, but we could have done differently before. So it's not that I'm the type of guy who puts now the finger in it and tell the boys that it was completely out of range or whatever. Things like this can happen.
Well, Liverpool's last home defeat came to Fulham almost a year ago to the day. Mario Lemina, the hero that day for Fulham, who at the time were in the relegation zone. Well, since that loss to Fulham, Liverpool have gone 28 games unbeaten at Anfield. The defeat to Inter, their first loss in 29 home matches.
The art of football is to lose the right games. I still hate it. But if there was any kind of game we could have lost and could have afforded to lose, it was tonight, because the main target, obviously, of this competition is to get through. But you are right. It's not that I'm here like over the moon. I'm really happy that we went through because obviously when we saw the draw in the first place, it was like, okay, that's a tough one. So we went through, and I think over the two legs we deserved it.
Okay, Katie, good morning to you. Paul, good morning to you. Okay, it was interesting to hear what Jurgen Klopp was saying there, Paul. You know, you don't want to lose any games, but there are right games if you're going to lose one that you want to lose. They didn't make it easy for themselves, but I guess overall it's the aggregate result that counts, isn't it?
Of course it is, Rob. And you know, when you're in the last 16, the main aim obviously is to get through the quarter-finals. And you know, they weren't at their best last night against a very good Inter Milan team, we've got to admit, and they made it difficult for them. But I do think that the game was won in the last 20 minutes over in the San Siro. You know, it was 0-0, it was a very even game, and Jurgen Klopp made the substitutions then too that made a difference until they won 2-0. And although they lost the game last night, I don't think they were in any danger at all of losing another couple of goals and going out. You know, if anything, you know, they've hit the bar 3 times, they've created chances, and they still aren't. They still weren't at their best. So all in all, wouldn't want to get beat. It would have hurt Jurgen Klopp to lose the fantastic record at Anfield, you know, unbeaten in such a long time there. But at the end of the day, they're through to the quarter-finals now, and that's all that matters.
It is all that matters. But, Katie, I wonder, there's two ways of looking at this, isn't it? After seeing the West Ham game at the weekend and the performance in this game, the idea maybe that Klopp will feel that there are things to be worked on. But on the other side, if you're playing like that but still getting the end results that you want, it's a sign that things are okay, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, you want to get the results and you want to qualify and go through. I think, you know, no two games are the same. Obviously, league games to Champions League games are very, very different. I think they went in, obviously, 2-0 on aggregate to start with. The sending off, obviously, in the game made the difference. Obviously, the goal was scored, then the sending off was made the difference. I think Liverpool were the better team over the two legs.
Well, let's talk about that red card, Paul, shall we? Right decision?
Not for me. But I was a centre forward that liked to have a few dodgy tackles, Rob, so maybe that's my opinion on it. But if anything, I thought that, you know, if there's going to be a red card, I thought the first tackle, especially nowadays, that possibly could have been a red instead of a yellow. But the second one myself, you know, Alexis Sanchez, he's stretching to win the ball, he's got his foot out, he's actually won the ball to sort of throw it onto, I think it was Martinez, and Fabinho's coming towards him, and he's tried to pull out a little bit, and you know, because Fabinho was a couple of from him, as he's towed the ball away, it's so hard at the speed in that game, Katie will tell you. You know, the momentum's going with you. And I just think it was a collision. I don't think there was any malice in it at all. I think he was genuinely playing the ball. And if anything, Fabinho was coming onto him. So I thought it was very harsh to get the second yellow card there. But in saying that, when you look back at the first one, that could have been a red in its own.
Yeah. Well, I've got to pick you up on the first point. You are always a mild-mannered footballer out there on the pitch, Paul. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's go, Katie. I hear what Paul's saying there. The second one, he wins the ball. Quite often you hear referees talking about, well, actually, that's no defence if you're out of control and go and cause harm. But was he really that out of control?
I think it's a hard one, isn't it? I think, you can't stop your momentum. Once you've committed to something, you can't stop your momentum. And trying to pull out sometimes makes it look worse than it actually is than if you follow through in the tackle. I think it's a harsh one, but, the referee's made the decision.
Yeah. Let's talk, Paul, about Luis Diaz. Again, impressive when he came on. I wonder, how has he slotted into this side so well? And when everyone's fit, where is he in the pecking order amongst Liverpool's forwards now?
I think to answer the first question, Rob, I think he's been outstanding when he came in, and I thought it was a massive sign that Liverpool signed him when they did. It was clearly known that they wanted him in the summer, that other clubs were interested, and they made that move now because they didn't want to lose out on him. But he's got fantastic skill, he's got great ability, as we're seeing here. That's just amazing, that. And to have the confidence to do that so early, to come into a team like Liverpool, the players around you, when it takes a lot of players a lot of time to settle, and that's a fantastic finish. And I've seen a lot of him when he was in Portugal, and he's a fantastic talent. But the one thing that he has got as well is a tremendous work ethic, which we all know in a Liverpool team that likes to press, is vital for them. And I think that's one of the reasons that he's fit in so well. And the players around him, they would have seen him in training, seen him little bits in games, and they'll realise what a good player he is. And when your teammates appreciate you and trust you very early on, and when you've made a move, it makes a massive difference for your own confidence. But he's a fantastic signing, and as I said, the fact Liverpool went and got him in January and didn't wait when other clubs were interested tells a story in its own.
Yeah. Katie, let's talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold. He was a bright spark in the game, not just the open play, set pieces as well, that free kick. It was wonderful to see that from behind, wasn't it, and see what it did. Reece James is obviously back fit now as well. So how good England's options in that position? For you, who's the first choice there?
Oh, I don't know. I think they both offer you so much in the game. I think, they're both back and they're both on form and they both add so much to the game. I think, it's going to be a tough competition, I think, for the pair of them. But what a great luxury to have with two talented players like that.
Yeah, it's the fourth time in 5 seasons, Paul, Klopp's side have reached the Champions League final. Why are they so good in this tournament?
I think a couple of reasons, Rob. Liverpool, the way they set out over 2 legs, especially at Anfield, nobody would want to play them there. Talking about, although they lost last night, the record at Anfield in all competitions, but especially in Europe, is fantastic. They've got the history of being in there as well. And I just think that, I know they're pushing Man City in the league and they won it a couple of seasons ago and been going head to head with Manchester City, but I just think Liverpool as a team are a lot more suited to cup competitions. They know what it means, and as I said, I do think the Anfield factor is massive. I've played there myself, I've been there watching on European nights, and the atmosphere is electric, and we really do spur them on. And it's a competition, I think, and I might be wrong, only my opinion, that they'd prioritise right at the very start of the season to do well in, because the history they've got in the competition, and it's to be there 4 times in the last 5 years is an amazing achievement, especially when you look at other teams around the world that are top class as well.
Yeah. Of course, Katie, that quadruple remains on. What do you see of their chances of claiming all 4?
There's always a chance to claim all 4, isn't there? They've just got to keep their form going, haven't they? They've got to keep players fit and keep producing results, and then they can stay in all competitions. It's a tough ask, but it's always doable. Yeah,
for you, Paul?
It's so difficult. We've seen that with Manchester City over the last few years, Rob. That, at one point last season, everybody was saying City were favourites for the quadruple, but the competition, the Premier League and the FA Cup and the Champions League is so tough. There's a lot of games coming in against top opposition. But they have strengthened, like we said, with Luis Diaz, and the squad depth looks a lot stronger than it has done in previous seasons. But I think for anybody, if they manage to do the quadruple, it would be one of the most amazing achievements we've ever seen, not just in English football, but in European football as well, just because of how difficult it's going to be. They've got one in the bag already. They're chasing Manchester City. They're already through the quarterfinals in the FA Cup. So you've got to say it's on, because they're still in all the competitions, but it's so hard, not just for Liverpool, but for any team to do that.